Recording in progress.
And then just tell me when you want to switch to this year's.
Okay. We have it opened up for anybody else to join.
Yeah, it's, if anybody else joins, I'm on there because I signed in there. If anybody else joins, I'll just end it.
Okay. So, we're doing it through Zoom, partial in person. So, for those that obviously don't know me, I'm Detective Charles Schultz. It's called me Officer Charlie. I'm one of the people that is trained to talk about fraud and scams. And technically during COVID, they had me get certified as what they call an elderly service officer, which I don't agree with the title because anybody can get scammed, myself included. I usually just mess with them though, because that's kind of fun for them. And I also know what they're looking for. So purpose of this presentation. So hopefully I can enlighten you guys on some of the scams that we've seen both in Antioch and nationwide. Some of the scams in Antioch might translate to Spring Grove, Fox Lake, wherever you live. If you guys have any questions, the PowerPoint we're going to be going through is a digital version. It's of my own creation, which I have no problem being shared out. It has my contact info on there, including an email address. Just know if you don't live in Antioch, you will not be getting me responding to your calls. But I can at least reply in an email, direct you what to do, stuff like that. Been a police officer in Antioch for 7 years now. Prior to that, I was in Dallas, Texas for 3 years. I'm currently assigned to the investigations division as a school resource officer. And this is probably my 15th presentation of this sort. So I've done presentations in churches, in the VFW, stuff like that. So, yeah, so we're going to go over a PowerPoint. If anybody has any questions, you can feel free to, there's a chat function in the Zoom. Just type question in the chat and we will make sure to get in touch with it towards the end. Obviously the presentation should only go 30 minutes and then obviously I got more than enough time for some Q&A on the back end of that. So yeah, we're going to go to our fun little PowerPoint.
Okay.
So
tell me to start slideshow. I think I got this thing in the way.
there we go.
There
All right. So, like I said, this PowerPoint is going to be available online, or basically it's going to be able to be shared out. First page has my contact info, includes my work cell. I do have a personal cell, but I don't usually give that out to people. So if you got any questions, just do me a favor. And if you want to send me a text, but let me know who you are because I don't usually save numbers. Next slide. So general scams are primarily focused to obtain any information about you. This information can include, but obviously isn't limited to your social security number, addresses, your full name, any and all banking information, including account numbers, routing numbers, and credit or debit card numbers. Some of this stuff, unfortunately, you can go on a database and you can have access to some stuff, but you got to pay a service for it if you're a hacker. Me personally, there is police-based databases that I can search and find all this information, but obviously I'm not doing this for nefarious means. So if I can access it, just be cognizant that some of your stuff may be out there already. Next slide. Types of scam, and obviously this is not the all-encompassing list. This is some of the list that has been seen nationwide that we've seen in Antioch, and that is very prevalent. So obviously everybody knows about identity theft. I get your information and I pretend to be you. Doesn't matter if I'm a male pretending to be a female, female pretending to be a male, it all works the same. I try to open up a bank account in your name, but it's me and get all your money that way. Unwanted calls. We were talking earlier about getting calls from outside the US, inside the US. I've gotten them before. There's a thing called the Do Not Call Registry. You can register any and all phone numbers that you have associated with you. And that's one of the flyers that I have available that also will be available to be sent out. Imposter scams, we were just talking about this earlier, a tech support scam. And obviously I'll go more in depth as we progress through the PowerPoint. Online dating scams, this is more geared towards the younger generation. However, it does still happen. IRS imposter scams. I usually, get these around tax season. I like messing with them up. They keep saying there's a warrant out for my arrest, and I still get to wear handcuffs. Grandkids scams. And like I said, I'll go over this. This is not applicable to just you guys. I've got one where I have a 3-year-old niece, technically not 4, who drove a car in Texas with a kilo of cocaine in it. And they tried to tell me that I was on the hook for it somehow. And it's my niece. I'm like, nope, call dad. Like, that's not me. Healthcare scams. I get the Medicare calls. I'm 35 years old. I didn't even know I was eligible. You've won scams. It's basically you register for a prize and then coincidentally you win it. But in order for us to ship it, we got to get your name, your address, good phone number for you. And just as a liability, we're going to need some sort of down payment. But if you win something, you shouldn't have to pay anything for it, right? That's how that should go. Home repair scams, we've seen. It's the Irish traveling group is what is affectionately called. They'll see, hey, you need a new driveway. And we can do that for you, but it's going to be $300. Use $300 for a brand new driveway. Something's wrong, but they don't pull permit. They use old asphalt. So yeah, it'll be nice for about a month, and then everything gets caves in. So money meal scams, work at home scams, that was more prevalent during COVID, but it is still happening now. And then charity scams. So like I said, all this I'll kind of go over a little bit more in depth as we progress through the PowerPoint. So next slide. Identity theft. Again, anybody trying to get your personal information to run up bills in your name. They might use your social security number, Medicare number, credit card number, along with your good name. And unfortunately, that means that your credit history gets messed up and everything like that. So you can get bills for something. How many people have gotten you opened up a Verizon account and all this other stuff. I already have a Verizon account. Why did I open up a new Verizon account? We had somebody in Antioch was actually working at the Walmart and would generate new accounts for her friends using other people's phone numbers and information. They were caught on camera doing this. They obviously got terminated. We tried for criminal charges, but didn't really work. Too many holes in the whole system. Main way that you guys can be proactive about this is there are 3 credit bureaus that you guys can monitor. All these are free of charge. Some of these are even linked already with your bank. Your TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. I don't get any payment from Experian, but what I can tell you is I have the phone app downloaded on my phone and I can easily just check it. For the most part, my Experian account, which is also kind of linked with my ECU account, the credit score may be about 2-3 points different. So it is still at least in that same ballpark. All the banks should use one, if not all 3. If something happens and they need to put a credit freeze on you, that's what they can do to try to prevent any additional issues. Next slide. So additionally, as far as identity theft and monitoring for identity theft, if you get any bills that you already pay, obviously you stash them or you stockpile them, whatever. If you get a bill, but it's not from something that you have, you can shred it. We in Antioch do an annual shred event, which is huge at times. Sometimes people come in there with giant totes. We take it from you, we throw it literally into a machine that is a giant shredder, and we do that. So I don't want you feeling like you got to go to Office Max, buy an industrial shredder right now. There are events like that, not just in Antioch, but statewide. Try not to write down your passwords on any kind of piece of paper if you can avoid it. I am guilty of it in my youth, not so much so now. Any and all online activity, that's where the issue is going to be. It's if you have it written down, then somebody can say, oh, well, this looks like this kind of account, so let me just try it that way. Your monthly statements, especially your credit and your debit bills or anything like that, make sure you're going through them. Easy enough. Hey, I see a charge for this, but I didn't buy anything from there. So you can dispute it with your credit union or whoever, and they'll be able to potentially reimburse you the money, or at least be like, hey, We're going to put a little bit of a freeze on it, get you a new account number, all that other stuff. So if any of that stuff's going on, first step would be to kind of report this with your local police department. If it ends up being Antioch, great. If it ends up being, Spring Grove PD or McHenry County Sheriff's or wherever you live, just at least make sure that it's on a formal report in some way, shape, or form. After that, contact your bank, which you'll probably be directed to do so by the officers to make sure that they're aware of it and that they can start the credit monitoring system as far as TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian, and potentially put a freeze on your credit to make sure there's no issues. Next slide. Unwanted calls. Like I said, I've been guilty of it. Received them. I usually try to mess with them a couple times, but it's because I have time and I know what they want. So I have gotten people getting calls any and all time of day. They have no consideration for it being 2 a.m. here. I'm trying to sleep. Sometimes the people we want to call us, i.e., I'm getting construction work done at my house, and it looks like it's the construction company calling, but it's not. Sometimes it's just people that are just trying to fish for information. So sometimes it's robocalls. So have you ever had the phone call where you answer, and then you're like, hello, and then they wait a second, and then you hear that audible little beep, and then somebody starts talking to you? That's what kind of a robocall is. So as soon as they try to say, that's usually what I've been getting with the Medicare scams. Is, oh, we're trying to do Medicare unclaimed benefits. Like, I'm 35. I didn't realize I even had any. But okay. So the robocalls aren't necessarily, especially with this magical thing called AI, it doesn't sound like a robotic voice anymore. It sounds like a person like you, me, or other folks. Solicitor calls are basically people calling trying to get information. Could be Medicare, Social Security, IRS. There's an app, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I can download on my phone, and I can make my phone number appear as any phone number in the entire United States. And it's only 99 cents on the App Store. So I've gotten Medicare, I've gotten IRS, I've gotten the Social Security scams, I've gotten anything and everything basically for me personally or that I've dealt with. So that's why it's even tough sometimes because it'll pop up on your caller ID, is it being the IRS? But when you do a little bit of a dive into the number, you'll either see it's linked to a fraudulent account or it's linked to the IRS, but it's in Alaska or something. So the IRS in Alaska ain't going to be hassling you in Illinois for back taxes. So,
I don't know. I'll change that.
I was going to say next slide. Go check.
Yep.
So the unwanted calls, the way that we can, I'd love to say stop them, but it's just a little bit of a stopgap, is you can register for the Do Not Call registry. It's a nationwide database. Basically, you can put multiple phone numbers. So if you have a landline still, or a cell phone or anything like that, you can put that number in. I'd love to say it's permanent. However, you still got to renew it basically every 3 years. So it might be fine for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it trickles back up. Then just go back on the website, put it back in. It's free of charge, doesn't cost anything. If somebody is on the phone with you and asking for your identifying information, prime example for the IRS scams, they should know if they are the IRS, what's your name, what's your social security number, your date of birth, and all that. The same with Social Security and Medicare, which I just realized there's a typo on my PowerPoint, which is a little triggering for my OCD. But if you owe money to the IRS or Medicare or Social Security, they are more prone to use snail mail. They will mail out stuff. They don't call you for anything. They basically will just say, send it out in the mail. So if you have anybody that attempts to ask you for your social security number, date of birth, or any other pertinent information that you know they should have if they are that actual entity, you can just hang up on them, unless you're me and then I mess with them a little bit. Next slide. So imposter scams. We were talking about this earlier. We had a person in Antioch last night, got an email from somebody pretending to be from Geek Squad saying there's an issue with your computer. If you allow me access to remotely log in, I can fix your computer for you. Great, sounds good. I wasn't realizing that there was computer issues, but let me go work on it. So this kind of goes into the tech repair scam more than anything. So this one's talking about if you win a prize, seeming to come from a government official, which I don't know of any government entity that will tell you you win a prize. However, it does happen apparently. Might be a person that you met online, or especially like our younger generation who have all this social media stuff and they don't necessarily know the people that they're talking to. They just say, oh, so-and-so reached out to me, they want this, and there's an exchange going back and forth. So no matter who it is, the request is always the same: wire money to pay the taxes or fees, or you used gift cards or whatever. Which shame on Jewel for allowing somebody to get $15,000 worth of gift cards to scratch everything up. But because that's what they do, is they will keep you on the line so that you're busy and you're preoccupied with that, and you're not thinking about, well, this doesn't sound right. So usually what I'll do is if I get this call, oh, okay, but the nearest Jewel's like 45 minutes away. Are you okay holding? Meanwhile, I'm just sitting in my recliner at home because I know that that's 45 minutes that he's not hassling somebody else. If they ask you to transfer money, no government entity is going to ask you to transfer money to somebody else. Doesn't make sense. Same with the gift cards, it doesn't make sense. Or bond money. We don't even know what bond money is nowadays in Illinois. But back in the day, that's how it would be. You wire us bond money and we'll get your son, daughter, grandkid out of jail. So don't provide any wire transfers to people that you don't know. No. Next slide. Tech support scams, going into what I was talking about earlier with the Geek Squad. Geek Squad reaches out to you, says, hey, we got to fix your computer. You're having an issue. There's a virus, blah, blah, blah. If you give us access, we can do that. Just click this link. The person kind of clicked the link. They ended up getting notified by them, hey, there's $15,000 that I accidentally put in your account. I need that $15,000 back because I accidentally put it in your account. I was doing some online banking while I was doing your work. So can you just send that back? Well, what ended up happening was the $15,000 was in her checking account that he moved up to a different account. And then was like, so it showed 15,000 like extra. And luckily she at least did her due diligence and was like, well, that doesn't seem right. Shut everything down, blocked everything up, called her bank. So they got the credit freeze and the credit monitoring stuff going on. So stuff like that. We had one years ago. I was having dinner with my dad at his condo. He got a phone call from somebody. We have all Apple products in my dad's house. I even have all Apple products for the most part. And he got a phone call from somebody saying that he was having issues with his Windows computer. So funny because we don't have Windows computers. So we're like, okay. And my dad's like, doesn't sound right. Like, give me the phone. I'll check it. So it's like, oh yeah, we're having, showing that you're having issues with your Windows computer. Thank you so much for helping us out here. Which computer exactly? Because we have multiple. Oh, well, it's showing, this serial number. Oh, it's like, okay, let me take a look because I got to go check these serial numbers. Meanwhile, I'm just stalling. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, oh, did you find the computer? Are you able to let me in? I'm like, under no circumstance am I going to be like, yep, let's go do that and let you access my computer. And the easy way to say so is we don't have a Windows computer. So if you are having any kind of tech issues, don't try to get them resolved over the phone or even via email. Go to Geek Squad. That is still a thing in Best Buy. They will work with you. Go to a genuine, legitimate computer fixer, basically. Don't try to be like, oh, so-and-so knows what they're doing because they went to one computer electronic repair class. So, next slide. Emails, again, tech support scams. So if you get an email saying your Norton antivirus expired, which it does expire at times, you can go on the Norton website to buy a new one, or just go to like Geek Squad and buy it there and have them even install it there for you. If you buy anything online and it does not say HTTPS with a little lock on the left of it, on the little web page bar, be hesitant about it. The S implies that it's a secure website. It doesn't mean it's 100% foolproof, but it means that they've at least taken steps to protect your information. If it doesn't, it's just HTTP, it's just a normal website. Anybody can access it. Anybody can potentially get your information. So if you do any online shopping, be cognizant of that to put in that extra safety precaution. Yeah, next slide. IRS scams. We're ramping up for the season for it because it always picks up in tax season. I've gotten a phone call that says that there's a warrant out for my arrest. Like I said, I have yet to wear handcuffs. So if somebody calls you saying they're from the IRS, that should already be a red flag, because the IRS will not call you to tell you that you owe them money. They will send you a letter that says that you owe them money, specifically how much, what time you got to pay it by. And if you don't, I have never known the IRS to get warrants out for back taxes. It might happen, but I'm not 100%. So the IRS imposters, their main things that you're going to want to keep an eye out for is if they tell you to wire them money or buy them gift cards and scratch out the codes and take pictures of the codes and all that other stuff. Because they already have their little Amazon wish list that they're looking through. They have their shopping cart, and as you're giving them the numbers or typing it in, everything's getting cleared out. A lot harder to recoup any of your money at that point. They may know your some of your social security number, but not all of it. Because again, there's databases that you can get some of that information on. Caller ID might show that it's a DC area code, but not necessarily the IRS. Or it might pop up as IRS. Like I said, do your due diligence, check out the number, search the number. You can just do a simple Google search of a number, and it'll pop up if it's fraudulent or anything. Real IRS, again, will not ask you to pay for any prepaid debit or gift cards or wire transfers. They won't ask for a credit card over the phone. And their first contact about unpaid taxes is by mail. All our government soup entities, as I call them, will reach out to you via mail first. They don't do it over the phone. Next slide. So, again, what to do. Don't provide anybody your full social security number over the phone. If you have any questions about the IRS or tax-related items, you can contact the IRS directly. And there's even a direct number for the IRS right there. Or if somebody indicates you need to pay them in a prepaid card or with a wire transfer, don't provide any money.
Why? Because the IRS just called them.
Maybe.
The IRS.
IRS calling in or something.
That's right.
It's like
Said on no.
Next slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, like I said, no government entities are going to call you to tell them that you owe them money. And they're not going to say, well, we can get a warrant for you unless you pay us. We did have this happen in Annie. Person technically she went missing because her husband couldn't find her. We found her behind an establishment. She was already, had the gift cards from Joel, had them already scratched up. She was out $9,000. She was still on the phone with the person because she was giving them all the numbers and stuff like that. So I said, okay, let me talk to this guy. So I tried talking to him. I said, okay, well, what's going on here? Well, so-and-so has a warrant and she's paying like this. So she's got a warrant, like right now. Yeah, she's got a warrant. I was like, okay. Well, it's funny because I just had my dispatch runner and she's not showing with a warrant. Oh, it's a federal warrant. You wouldn't know that. Oh. It was like, so why do I not know about this federal warrant? And why does she have to pay you money over the phone? And that makes no sense. Well, she pays or there's going to be a warrant. Okay, so there is a potential for a warrant or there is a warrant. Which one are we doing here? Because if she's got a warrant, we can arrest her for you right now. Well, we're gonna get a warrant. Oh, okay. So he didn't like that I was pressing him and asking these questions and stuff like that. So he ended up picking up. Unfortunately, she was out the $9,000. Bank's not gonna necessarily refund the money because they might view her as a willing participant in giving up the money. So that's why it's be conscious of all of this. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're ever concerned about having a warrant, simple enough, call the non-emergency number for your police department and say, hey, I just got a call from the IRS saying I got a warrant out. Can you run me to see if I have a warrant out? We constantly are getting people to do that, which I'm okay with because simple enough, we run you, no warrant. Sometimes they do, but rather be safe than sorry. Next slide. Exactly. Grandkids scams. Like I said, I have a 3-year-old niece who apparently borrowed a car, drove a kilo of cocaine to Texas or whatever, and I was somehow on the hook for it. I said, my niece, not my kid, so call my brother. So if you get a call, what this usually looks like is you'll get a call from somebody saying they're from some obscure police department or sheriff's office. We have your granddaughter, grandson, whichever, because they can do simple searches, find your information, go down the family tree and be like, hey, this person looks like they might be an issue. So let's go use that name. And they'll only use the first name. Say, you have your grandson, Jack, granddaughter, Judy, whichever. And she was involved in that. And, she needs bail money or we're going to keep her here. So then you, of course, as a concerned grandparent, okay, talk to Jack or Judy. Oh, well, they're going to sound a little different than you're used to because they were just involved in this accident and they broke their nose. If you break your nose, traditionally, it doesn't impact your speech for the most part. I have not broken my nose, but that's what I believe. So you get to talk to Jack or Judy. Jack or Judy said, Mom, I stuff. They'll use your first name. Now, every parent, grandparent has an affectionate nickname. Nana, Pop is my dad, my niece. It'll never be that. It'll always be your first name. So that should be a red flag. Next thing is going to be, the person I crashed was pregnant. And they died in the accident. So they're pulling on your emotional heartstrings here, like, oh my God, what just happened here? And because she's pregnant, they're looking at like vehicular manslaughter type deal. All these serious things. But if you send them $3,000, they'll let me go. It's always an obscure, but not too obscure number. So first thing you should do, again, what to do, contact the family member in question. Sometimes you can just be like, okay, I got to go to the bank to get this worked out. Maybe even mess around with them a little bit to try to get the transfer number or whatever they need. And let me go work on this. Hang up the phone, call up Jack or Judy, because I guarantee that they either aren't driving or have not been in a crash recently. But they're not expecting you to do that. They're pulling on your emotional heartstrings, talking about the death of another individual, vehicular manslaughter, all this other stuff. They're going to take me away forever, Grandma. It's not going to be the case. Don't ever send money for bonds over the phone or via wire transfer. It's just not how it works. Next slide. Healthcare scams. Like I said, I get the Medicare scam at 35. I don't know why. So whenever it's open enrollment or any kind of healthcare stuff's on the news, they usually have a prompt that they go off of. Hi, I've noticed that you have unpaid medical, Medicare reimbursement, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. But I just want to make sure I'm talking to the right person. Can you verify your social security number? Or can you verify your address for me, or your date of birth or something? If this is genuine, because Medicare has this vast database, they already have all that info. So they shouldn't be asking you. So again, did you just get a healthcare card? If you did, they might be going off of that as far as the renewal. If they're going to say, I can get you a discount on your prescriptions, it's going to be a great deal for you. It might be, but it will likely be fraudulent. So is that government official actually from the government? And the answer to all three of those questions is almost always no. So if you have any questions before you provide that person any information, again, contact Medicare directly, and I included the number for Medicare. Next slide. Home repair scams. We were talking about the asphalted driveway for $300, or you got a leaky roof. We can fix that for you. Installing new windows, solar panels. It's the new thing, solar panels. Some of the companies are actually legitimate. However, one of the main red flags you should have is if somebody tells you, I need 100% upfront before I start working. No. Either do a 30% split, 30-30, and then 40, whichever you want to split. 50-50 even still works. If it's a genuine, reputable construction company, they have absolutely no problem with the split because it holds them accountable too. Because they want to finish the job, so they finish getting paid. So again, make sure that they have licenses. Try to ask for references. We had this happen when we got our house painted, my wife and I. Like, hey, that's great and all, but who have you painted in the neighborhood? You know, so that we can at least see what they look like and if they're happy with you. Or, you know, try to get several estimates, not just go off of, well, this guy said, you know, that, and okay, go for that. Pay either by check or try not to avoid cash. Don't do cash or wire transfer because checks obviously are trackable. You can obviously say, I sent you this check on this date and all this other stuff. And again, usually try to do a half now, half on completion. We see more home repair scams going on when we have the big storms and, you know, hey, you might have gotten hail damage with this last storm. Great, if I got hail damage, I get a new roof, but I'm going to go through my insurance company to get the new roof. So they're going to try to hit you when you just had a major storm. And then like I was talking about with the driveway scams, they may not use the top premium stuff that they're supposed to use. They use cut up, already broken down old asphalt, which means it's going to be sunk in about a month. And you got to redo the whole thing. So just be cognizant of that. Next slide. Money mule scams. This one is interesting. So we've seen it happen when it's usually an exchange of money for a good deal like online. So let's say I buy something on Facebook Marketplace and the agreed upon price was, let's just say $100. Well, I mess up. I had an extra zero. So I send you $1,000 for a $100 product. So then I go and tell you, hey, I need you to send me back that 900 that I accidentally sent you. But I don't want you to send it to me. I want you to send it to my friend. See, you're already making a face like it don't make sense. So a money mule scam, the $1,000 that I sent you is already fraudulent. That 900 is going to be, you know, your actual money that you're sending to this guy. But you're on the hook for having $1,000 of fraudulent cash. So if you're just like, yeah, no, it doesn't sound right, I'm going to report it with my bank. You don't got to transfer anything. Just say, hey, this somehow ended up in my account. I don't feel comfortable with it. Can you verify it if it's actual valid currency? They might say you want a sweepstakes, but we need you to send us some money so that we can send out whatever you want. Shipping costs, you know. We had it happen, a teenager, she's 18, local struggling artist in Antioch, let's say. Posts a bunch of stuff on her social media as far as what she does. And somebody's like, I really like your stuff. I'll send you some money for it. Da, da, da. I just want to use it on my post. He did the exact same thing. Sent extra money, was trying to say, you need to send it to so-and-so as far as the excess. She was at least aware that that wasn't sounding right. Called the police. So just keep your money to yourself. Never agree to move money for somebody, even if they say it's okay. So next slide.
Oh. Another slide.
There should be more.
Let's see.
We're being scammed here.
Not being
Yeah.
scammed.
Let's see. That down here, right?
Yep.
Right.
So Facebook Marketplace is basically everything that I just said as far as the money goes. So that's fine. Bleached money is interesting now. We've had this happen at grocery stores in Antioch. We've had it happen through Facebook Marketplace. So the concept behind bleached money is, if you look at the pictures, obviously on the right-hand side, the one on the bottom is a legitimate $100 bill, and the one on the top is not. The one on the top is what's called a bleached bill. They took a $5 bill, bleached the paper to make it exactly white, and then they printed over it with a $100 denomination. I noticed.
Lincoln is.
Yep, you see the water.
Yeah.
So, reason why this is finicky is because when you get a $100 bill or even a $50 bill, sometimes at, certain retail shops, they have to do the counterfeit pen. Well, it's going to show up as it's a legitimate bill because the pen hits on the paper. So it'll show, hey, legitimate $100 bill. You need to make sure, especially if you're doing any kind of social media, marketplace, sales, stuff like that, then you check the watermark or the security thread that's going to be on the left-hand side of all that. I know, it's for everybody trying to make it, there's always somebody trying to do it wrong. So the security thread and the watermark will be incorrect as far as the actual denomination. So you can't always rely on the actual pen. Next slide.
I have a feeling this might just be out of battery. Yeah.
So this is another one, kind of funny. We had this more in Dallas. This was our,
Oh,
it literally says for motion picture use only. It says copy. Yes, it has a serial number, and it even says this is not legal tender. However, people see $100 bill, count. Okay, we're all good. And let them
Even
go.
Ben's face is like.
Yeah, we'll skeptical now. So if you were to take a look at this and look for the watermark or look for the security thread, neither of them would be there. The reason why that blue one's there is because it's relatively easy to make. Take a marker, whatever, you can make it look like that. So it's kind of funny. We've seen that, and then we've seen ones with Chinese symbols that are on the back. Those are the ones that they get off the black market. You can buy them and get them shipped in pallets to your house. But of course, again, it's not legal tender. Next slide. So we've had this, I've had it before. Somebody says, hey, I understand you're trying to cancel out your Gmail or your Yahoo email account. Just want to verify that you want to do this, so click this link and we'll walk through the steps. If you're not planning on it, don't click the link. If you are planning on it, still don't click the link. There are ways to go through Google or go through Yahoo to officially deactivate your account. Don't use a third party. What they do is once you click the link, it launches what's called malware onto your computer, your phone, whichever you're using at the time. And then that's how they would access any keystrokes that you do, any of your information, anything that you have available, they would be able to gain access to. So if you even get that email, feel free to contact the customer service account for that email account. So if it's Google, Gmail, go through Google. If it's Yahoo, Yahoo, AOL even. So yeah, and it'll usually pop up with that upcoming cancellation of your account due to inactivity. So next slide. And then other ones we've seen, the census scams usually pop up again around this time. Just trying to make sure how many people do you have in your house, and also what are their date of births and ages, and all that. Nigerian print scam will never go away. I would love to say they would, but they will never go away. The text scams we were talking about, if you get that package that is undeliverable via FedEx, UPS, whatever, you get a link. It says click on the link to update the address you want to ship to. Do not click the link, because then it again goes to the malware, comes up to your phone. So that's just stuff that we've seen both nationwide and a little bit in Antioch or my personal life. Next slide. So when in doubt, obviously just call. That's what the police department's for. It's not Antioch. It'll be whichever local agency you have. And don't provide any kind of information to the person. Definitely don't give them money. So Next slide. And then the one other thing we got is what's called ghost calls. I can download an app on my work phone or my personal phone, and it will spoof a number. I can make it spoof the IRS number. I can make it spoof Social Security. I can make it spoof Medicare. And I can call you from that number, and you're going to pop up as seeing Medicare calling. Pop up with the actual Medicare number. But again, that's where it all circles back to everything that we were talking about earlier. If they ask for money, if they ask for personal information, they should already know that if they are a governmental entity. So again, the IRS and Social Security will not attempt to obtain money for any warrants via a phone call. And then again, I know it says call APD, but call your local agency and we can walk you through it. Next slide. So again, if you got any questions, this is again, I don't agree with the elderly service officer title, but that's what the certification was. It's a 2-day class during COVID, where it talks about fraud, scams, and basically how we as law enforcement can protect the general public from being scammed. So again, it's got my email address. The phone number on there is my work station number. If you need me for anything or have a question, feel free to either shoot me an email or text my work cell because I'm very infrequently in my actual office. I think that's it.
So I will take this, when I put this out, I'll attach this file.
Yeah.
So if any of you, want to download it and save it, you can do that. Okay. So is it fair to say, Charlie, that as a general rule, never click on a link?
General rule, yeah.
Always just call the organization.
Yes. If you're skeptical about it, just call. They usually have like a customer service line or something like that you can verify if it is legitimate or not. Downside of technology nowadays is there is so much that people can backdoor their way in and install malware or keyloggers or whatever just by you clicking that link.
Okay.
That's why if you're not expecting it or anything like that, just feel free to, reach out to that customer service entity or even just call your local non-emergency number for your police department and say, hey, I got this. Doesn't seem right. We can either walk you through it or say, yep, we've seen that before. Definitely don't do it. You can walk.
Okay. And then the other thing is that what I think I heard you say in a couple of different cases is that a lot of times they're counting on the fact that you're not going to check what they're saying, right? I mean, like the homeowner, like the home repair. I have a lot of people that come and say, well, I'm doing work for your neighbor and whatever, and they're counting on me not calling them.
Yeah.
Really are you? Or the instance you said with a grandma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had my my mother-in-law living in Seattle. They got a call when she was about 85 from presumably my son.
Mm-hmm.
Said, Grandma, this is Randy. I'm really in trouble. She had enough sense that she talked to him. She said, well, what's your last name? And he gave her his last name.
Yeah.
And she said, goodbye.
Yeah.
Because it's not. So, I mean, sometimes it's just having the wherewithal to ask a question.
So the downside out of especially the grandparent scams is they are tugging on your emotional heartstrings. They're not expecting you to act rationally or think rationally. We had a person in Antioch who worked at a convenience store who may have taken money out of the safe because he was on the phone with somebody who claimed he was from the liquor commission. And you need to transfer all this money because your boss owes us money. And you need to transfer it, but through this Bitcoin machine that's at the gas station across the street. We'll give you the tracking numbers and all that. But if anybody knows anything about Bitcoin, as soon as that goes in the machine, it's gone, basically. So that unfortunately happened to him. I think they were out $20,000 or something. But again, he was insistent on the phone and constantly asking them, you need to do this, you need to do that. He wasn't able to take that second to think and be like, oh, that doesn't sound right. And he was even trying to call his boss about it, but the boss wasn't answering the phone. So he decided to try to make the unilateral decision, thinking that he was doing the right thing, and he ended up not. So that's what they're hoping is if I bug you enough, I'm going to make you make that incorrect assessment and incorrect action.
Okay. And what about when you because I get a lot of these, to the church in person. I'll get an email saying your card's been charged for renewal or whatever. And I know I didn't do it. Is it okay to just delete it?
So it's renewal for like a monthly subscription type deal?
It might be your renewal for Geek Squad.
Okay.
You know, it's just been charged to your card. Well, I'll check my card.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Yeah.
But is it okay to just delete that, or is
So you can delete it, and I would even say delete it from your deleted.
okay?
Because what it might say is like, hey, if you want to view the statement, click the link.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna provide some bogus invoice as far as, yep, you're gonna pay this for this next year's service. But as soon as you click that, the invoice is gonna be bogus and it's gonna launch that malware we talked about.
Okay.
So that's why if you don't gotta click on it, it's what's called a phishing scam. We talked a little bit about it in the presentation, but if you click on a link, that's how the whole malware gets updated, is because it's phishing. PH, not like the actual. But
Okay.
that's what they do.
So by deleting it, you're not, delete it and then permanently delete it.
Correct.
You're not, if I follow up and just say, no, I didn't resubscribe to Geek Squad and I just delete it, I'm okay. I don't have to worry that
Well,
data.
If you delete it after verifying that it's not charged on your credit card or anything like that, and then you delete it from the deleted, you don't even need to reply to the email thread.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Just basically, I'd say delete it. Once you verify like you didn't get charged.
Okay. Okay.
Because they're banking on you basically being like, okay, well, let me just see what this invoice is and click the link and that's what pops up.
Okay.
So
Okay, good.
So call the Geek Squad.
call the actual Geek
Yeah.
Squad
Actual.
Yeah,
and see if you have a running balance.
yeah.
Like I said, that's Geek Squad, that's what they do. If somebody gets hacked, that's what they're there for. So,
Okay.
How often should you go to the Geek Squad and get your stuff all cleaned up?
on me, we have an IT pro for the department and at the school resource officer, I have one for the district. So I make sure that all my devices are clear.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's doing this presentation and stuff like that. I should probably take my personal phone in, but I don't do a lot of stuff on it. So that's why I'm not too worried about it.
Well, I got a text,
Mhm.
and of course I fell for it because it was a pastor of a church in Richmond. And, and I was sitting, like 10 minutes away from a Target store.
Mhm.
And I knew that they do sponsor one family every year.
Mhm.
They find you an apartment in the city and they go clean it up and they furnish it and they do all sorts of stuff.
Mhm.
And he wanted 3 gift cards for $200 each.
Mhm.
And I did it.
Mhm.
But then on my way home, I discovered that she hadn't called me back. But I didn't know whether to take it to the church or whether she was gonna stop at my house on the way home. So I called her and she said, "Oh, no, we don't do that."
Yeah.
And then I called Target and said, I was scammed, and I returned these.
Mhm.
And they said, "No, they're not returnable."
Yeah, that's the downside of the gift cards is even if you, after the fact, find out,
Yeah,
you can't, so you
Well, they
got
did.
$600 spending money, I guess.
well, you know what, I gave it to 2 of my kids and said, I'll take 200, but I'm gonna give the other 2 away.
Yeah. So I do a lot with Special Olympics and other organizations and stuff like that. So the perks of me, I sit on a committee. I've been networking with these people for the last 6 years. So I know what the actual Special Olympics
Mhm.
solicitation email sounds like, it looks like. And if for some reason I'm like, yeah, it sound right, I can at least reach out to no less than 6 people and be like, hey, did you guys send this out? And is it legitimate? And, most of the time it is just coming from a different email address that they might have, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
So specifically for our church, because you brought that up, Shirley, there's 2 things, because we've had this happen a number of times before. One is that if you know Pastor Carey, he would never ask for money. So part of it is what Charlie's saying, is you just know certain organizations or people would do that.
Well,
Carey
yeah,
would never-
I didn't expect it to.
Right.
But I did know that they do sponsor a person and it
Sure.
was possible that they could give them a gift card.
Yeah, sure.
So I thought it sounded, but I did check. I went into the reverse numbers, white pages.
Yeah.
The phone that was used was from Fort Wayne area,
Oh,
but the call actually came from Oklahoma City.
oh,
Well,
okay.
that kind of goes off of the
Uh-huh.
ghost calls. I can, if you have a 224 area code, because I work in Antioch, a lot of people in the Wisconsin area have a 224.
Oh.
Now, I can make my personal cell number, even though it's an 847, look like a 224. So you think you're getting a little call now.
So yours was by phone, because the other thing I was going to suggest to you all is, again, from experience that we've had, there's smart scammers and there's stupid scammers. Sometimes you get an email from Kerry and it isn't his email address. I mean, we know his email address is Kerry@riverridgewi.com. So if ever you get anything from Kerry and it's not that email address, it ought to cause reason to question it.
Yeah.
Or it'll be some bizarre email.
Like one of the things with us in Antioch for our police department, if we get an outside email, so like the emails that we've been having back and forth.
Yeah.
It pops up as an external email.
Mm.
So every so often, at random, because our IT professional likes to keep us on our toes, she will send us a test email that is a phishing scam.
Oh.
And it's not like an actual malicious, like click the link and you're basically done, but it is click the link and you gotta go to mandatory training because you messed up. Needless to say, you don't want to end up on that list, but she will pop up at random. She's never telling you when she's doing it, and everybody gets a different email. So it's not like, hey, I got this email, see it, forward it, and you're good. So it's staying conscious of that too. If it's an internal server sent email, it'll not pop up with external. But for us, like our emails going back and forth, pops up as external. So you got to be a little bit more cognizant of that.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, changing the subject, there's 3 different credit bureaus.
Yeah.
It seems to me like I remember when I tried to call them,
Mhm.
they told it to be a landline, not a cell phone.
Mhm.
So I opted to write the letter.
Mhm.
And then I had to send them a copy of my driver's license and 2 or 3 items.
Mhm.
And I thought, well, what happens if somebody
Steals the mail.
steals the truck for the post office? So which one would be, actually, I sent them certified mail, so they had to be signed.
So what I would do if they give you any kind of pushback like that is go to your bank and ask to have a teller or bank representative be on the phone with you, because technically that would be a landline, and make that phone call together.
Oh, okay.
So, because if it's something that's like, I don't know, 100% feel comfortable with it.
Well, I didn't, if they, I didn't have a landline.
Yeah.
Now I have a landline that's connected to my Wi-Fi.
Yep.
So what?
So you can either do that and
Big deal,
do the
right?
whole landline, or like I said, talk to your bank. Your bank should feel comfortable with like, oh yeah, we'll have a rep sit with you and do all this other stuff. So the other stuff, talking about mail, we have had in Antioch people take mail, not just in Antioch, Spring Grove, Lake and McHenry County. They take mail out of the mailbox. So if you are planning to pay your mortgage, it's the direct story. Pay the mortgage, do not leave the check in the mailbox overnight, let alone with the flag up. Because what happened was they saw a flag up, okay, they're mailing you, let me just take that out. They took the check, whited it out what the number was supposed to be, added another couple of zeros on it, changed the name of who is supposed to be cashed out to, and then they tried cashing it. Obviously, didn't necessarily go through, but now you're getting hassled by your credit people because you're like, I paid my mortgage, I have the check that says I did, but they never received it because somebody put it on the mailbox. So just be cognizant of that. Like,
I take mine to the post office.
Yeah.
I didn't use the outside thing, but I know that
Yeah.
I don't ever leave it in the mailbox.
I always do like 3 flips just to make sure that it actually went down properly. I get the same.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Because sometimes, it feels like it's a little full and I just want to make sure. I'm just trying to do my due diligence again.
So are you seeing any kind of an increase in mailbox fraud kind of stuff, or is that kind of rare?
It's hit or miss. It's more in like the Christmas time
Okay.
because you got to figure people probably want some money or gift cards to family members to be able to make it up to. So that's why, again, I'd advocate, like, we do Christmas cards in my house and we mail them directly. We go even inside, just not the outside.
Mhm.
It's not because we're sending them thousands of dollars, but it's other people's information. I don't want other people to lose that.
Yeah.
So usually it ebbs and flows with scams, depending on what it is and time of the year. So like IRS and Medicare and all that other stuff is more towards open enrollment season and or tax season.
Okay.
So,
And if you go directly to the post office, they have pretty tight security. Then I mean, there's minimal risk.
Yeah.
If you're mailing it through the post office direct. Right?
yeah. I mean, yeah,
Well, you just drop it in a box out there.
you can drop it in the box outside, or most of them have internal boxes, which is what I usually drop off. Because that way you don't got to worry about, God forbid, somebody drives over the median and whacks that post office thing down, and now all of a sudden all the mail's scattered. So,
And there's been times you've gone in and it's full.
okay.
It's like, how are we even gonna get this in here?
Yeah, I know.
So they have, to your knowledge, I mean, would they have a pretty tight background check program on people that work at postal service?
I mean, it's a federal government entity, so, yeah.
So people that actually deliver the mail and stuff like that, they're
Yeah.
pretty tight and screened.
And they're held accountable for if like mail goes missing or illness or stuff like that. My understanding.
Any other questions from you guys?
Well, I think the thing that I'm seeing more often in the mailbox is your warranty has expired on your 2020 electric car that I don't own.
Yeah.
You know, and then the one I got last week was saying that I just glanced at it at first and I thought it was from my bank, for my mortgage, for my insurance to be updated for the year. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I drew it on the counter, you know, call this number, blah, blah, blah. But when I read it at the bottom, it was like, this is not affiliated, and this is for a warranty on your house. And I'm like, oh, man, if I did read the whole thing, I would have been thinking I need to call the bank and do that. So, you know, they do those kind of things. I mean, you tell me I have electric cars. Yeah, I know that.
I still get them for a 2012 Camaro that got wrecked in 2015.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I love the car, don't get me wrong, but I'm not about to pay for it.
Yeah.
So they can go on, like I was talking about, you can go on a certain website, find what kind of assets you had and or pick stuff up and think that you're not going to catch it. So like I have a truck right now that's paid off and all that. So if I try to get hey, you'd love to refinance your loan with your truck, I'm like, that's paid off.
Yeah.
I don't want my savings right now. How does that work?
You can get it equitably
Yeah.
blowing on your truck. I didn't know that.
So
I get calls for my student loans at 73. Tammy.
Waiting because they had froze those
That's
payments,
right.
so you would have been waiting
right.
to pay it.
That's right. Tammy, I'm sorry I was a little late letting you in, but do you have any questions for Charlie? If you do, you can unmute yourself.
I don't have any questions. That's okay. I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, then I went back and met with somebody and I came back and I was on. So I was like, I'm glad to hear this, but thank you for all the information.
Well, we'll post this so that you can review the whole presentation at some other point too. So,
Perfect.
okay, thank you for joining us. Okay, we good?
Yeah.
like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, whatever. If you live in Antioch, great. If you don't, I can always direct you to the right way to go.
Well, thank you, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
Appreciate you taking the time to do this. And again, this will be up on the website and I'll include the presentation. So some of the numbers Charlie gave you will